Hey everyone, my name is Sam and thanks for checking out this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification, and give the video a thumbs up. So I want to talk about the books that I read this week. I didn't read a ton in number, I only read 4, but 2 of them are like larger books. So I'm a-okay with that, and I basically read my entire monthly TBR, which never seems to happen. I best tend to get like half of the books done, and then I just kind of detour and start going off on other books, and I don't know what happens. But let's talk about them. The first book that I read this week was All the Ever Afters, The Untold Story of Cinderella's Stepmother by Danielle Teller. And this is kind of like in the logic of like Once Upon a Time of giving her their own story. And I actually really enjoyed this. This was quite interesting. Sometimes I find it's very villainous, or it's just women are become villains because they were, screwed over by a romantic lover in the past. But this is heavily focused on a lot of like historic details of like the value of women in society and the difficulty and sometimes how arranged marriages and religion a lot of the times forcing them into it, and unplanned pregnancies and poverty, and it was just, and class, that was another big thing. It was just very interesting, and it's not a big book itself, but you follow her stepmother through a long time. It really did feel like we follow her from like when she's just like, as a kid, she is given by her family because they're so poor to like the nearby like manor to be their laundress, and she's abused there by her boss, who just, just constantly like demeans her, and she finds an opportunity to become a servant in a different household, which is kind of like highly revered, and she goes there, and you just kind of follow her along these ways of where things happen to her. And I will tell you, by the end, I was fully on Team Stepmother side. Cinderella isn't the Cinderella that, we've gotten like the Disney version or Once Upon a Time. She's kind of an annoying tween, like Justin Bieber-y kind of person. Like that's just the mentality, like what I get from her. She's very spoiled, very self-centered, but I mean, she's also not like a villain. She just seems very like a very sheltered individual. And there's several here of like claims that I remember of like, oh, you made her live in the attic, you made her clean all the laundry, all those things that in like the Disney movie are like, oh, the evil stepmother makes her do this, but they're kind of explained in here, which I love that she took that on, but also really did make it her own. It's a relatively slowish paced book, though. That was really my only problem. There's really no like climax or anything, so if that's something that you struggle with books, that may be a deterrent for you. But overall, I actually really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. This was, I think, a unique kind of retelling in the world of fairy tale retellings. So, yeah, actually ended up giving this like a 4 out of 5 stars. Also, I forgot to apologize. The lighting's probably really bad. It's supposed to be overcast where I live all long weekend. All long weekend, and it rained all week. So, you're just going to have to roll with it for now. Then I finished Voyager by Diana Gabaldon. This beast. I actually finished this far quicker than I did Dragonfly and Amber or Outlander, I think. And they're all about the same size. Once I got in a groove on this one, and I started going through it. So we follow Claire when she goes back. I don't want to say too much because the plot kind of spoils other books, but she goes back to Scotland and picks back up with Jamie. It's like a 20-year time jump from A Dragonfly and Ember to the beginning of this book. And I love Roger and Bree, and I'm so excited to read Drums of Autumn is the next one, I think, because they get more screen time, and I'm just so excited. But it follows Claire going back to Scotland, and Jamie is, and kind of Scotland and England after the Battle of Culloden, and this kind of weird tension that they're sitting on, and what happened after the Battle of Culloden in the Scottish Highlands, as well as, what's going on with the power dynamic of the English still in Scotland. And this is where we get to know Lord John Grey as well, who has his own spin-off series. After the first book, this is probably my favorite one that I remember anyways. It's predominantly all set in Scotland with a little bit taking place in some other areas and like flashbacks, and then there's a big, and at the twist at the end, they end up in a new country, and I'm not gonna say which one. But yeah, so thoroughly enjoyed this, gave it another 5 out of 5 stars. I love the concept of older Jamie being a printer and still smuggling. It was just Jamie. And there were just like little tidbits that I had really forgotten about, like the whole like I mean, I remembered it happening, but just the absolute, like, crumbling of the marriage of Claire and Frank, and you know, how he goes, and, I mean, I honestly remember, like, being, like, pretty, like, meh about Frank, didn't love him, didn't hate him, until I read this book, and he's clearly racist, like, and I remember being like, oh, okay, yeah, no, it's okay to not like Frank, he's a racist. So, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this book, and I'm really excited to keep going on my reread of the series, and 5 out of 5 stars. Then I did a reread of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. I legitimately remembered nothing of this book. It's been so long since I've read it, and honestly seen the movie. I feel like it's been, well, mind you, now it's probably been just a couple months since I watched the movie, but the movies are always slightly different and much more condensed. But I remember as a kid when this book came out, like, vividly, and someone drove past the bookstore where everyone was waiting outside in the lineup and screamed, "Dumbledore dies." I remember being like, no, that can't happen. Rowling got murdery in the last few. Like, I don't know if she went through some life stuff, but she got real murdery in the last 2 books of this series. We follow Harry going back to Hogwarts for his 6th year. I just want to make sure I got that right. Yeah. 6th year after the fallout of Voldemort finally being acknowledged that he's back, and there's a new Minister of Magic who's trying to use Harry, and Dumbledore is just kind of given up on the Ministry of Magic getting stuff done. He is trying to deal with Voldemort on his own, and we see a little bit of the Order of the Phoenix. We see a little bit of the fallout of Sirius's passing in the last book, and Harry's hatred of Bellatrix Strange. Also, I was listening to the audiobook of this while following along, the Jim Dale one, and he calls her Bellatrix Lestrange. Have I always been saying it wrong? Is it Lestrange or Lestrange? Yeah, I just, like, love this book. Like, I love that the twist of Snape. Like, I still hate Snape as a character. I mean, I feel like it's called for. Snape is a shit person. Like, he's just not a, he's, you know, he's done some stuff that makes him not, but he's still a shit person. And the fallout of that, I remember reading this the first time and being very curious what was going on with Malfoy, and I actually kind of felt a little bad for him. He's got so much stuff going on, and, like, I mean, parental pressure can be a thing on its own, but when your family is Death Eaters, man, that takes it up a level. So, yeah. 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm really, really excited. I'm very, very sad to read the last book, because, oh god, the murders. It's just gonna get so bad. And the last book that I read this week was A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is the 2nd book in the Shades of Magic series, and I love books where there are magical duel battle tournament things. They're so cool! So this picks up 4 months after the end of Shade of Magic, where Delilah is kind of going out on her own. She aboards this kind of pirate ship and just kind of goes all over the place. And the crew and the captain of the pirate ship end up having some connections to Kel. And we're following Kel, who is now connected to his brother because of the end of A Darker Shade of Magic. And things are not settled exactly from everything in the first book with the Black Stone, the Black World, and Holland, and things gonna get so bad. But within here, there is like a competition, tournament, battle, duel, where each kind of kingdom submits their kind of top three or 8, like, competitors, and they kind of duel, and it dwindles down in a bracket, and the top 3 win, and there's an unmasking. Delilah kind of steals the spot of someone, goes incognito, and Kel as well. So that's kind of how they come back into each other's lives. But the really interesting part of this book is Delilah's development of magic, because she's not supposed to have any because of that was the first book where she's not supposed to have any. But man, she's got some. So I love all the dual battling scenes where they're using the magic and, like, the plates and how they count the scores. Oh, just read it. It's so good. It's so good. 5 out of 5 stars. So those are all the books that I read this week. Let me know in the comments section down below what you read this week, and if you've read any of these, I would love to hear your thoughts. Make sure to check the description box down below for links to the Goodreads pages of these books, as well as links to all of my social media. If you follow me, I will follow you